Hi folks, today I'm going to walk you through how to complete the tally sheet assignment. So the first step you're going to want to complete is getting the template typed in. So you're going to want to pause the video and do that. Afterwards, I'm going to walk you through rather quickly some of the formatting features here. So to begin, Future Business Leaders of America should be merged and centered across columns A through F in row 1. The font here is Baskerville Oldface, and it is a size 14. Candy sale should be in an Arial size 12. Selling price / bar should be bolded Arial size 10. $1.25 is italicized. It's important that you do not type in the $ with a shift 4, but rather change it to currency up here, or otherwise you may have trouble with some of the calculations that we're going to do. So member here, you're going to merge units sold. When you click on that column, you want to wrap text up here. Total collected, you want to make sure your column's wide enough here. Prize. So the borders here, this is a double border all around. So we have to actually go into more borders because it's not one of the quick border options. So you're going to choose a double border option on the top and bottom and a thicker line border on the two sides here. And then you're going to also highlight in here. And here what we're going to do is, may actually be easier to go each one. So this is just another way that you could do borders. So you have a thick on all sides here, and then above should still be that double border. So you have a thick border here, thick border here, thick border here. You're going to have a double line border here because you're totaling in Excel. Total needs to be bolded. That should take care of the basic formatting. So then the first step here is to alphabetize everything. So if you watch carefully here, if I did this the way I would originally think to do it and just highlight Mariano Rivera, notice that he has 10 units sold. I'm going to go over here to sort and filter. Notice what just happened there. The 10 units sold stayed where it was, didn't move with Mariano. So now my information is incorrect. So I'm going to undo. And then what you need to actually do is highlight everything in here. And then sort and filter. So now we're going to start doing some formulas. We're going to start with our total collected. You want to make sure everything is lined up. I'm going to start with an equal sign. I'm going to click on the $1.25 here, multiply with the star key. I want to make sure I'm using cell references here. So that one worked out nicely. Now I'm going to remember the little drop box here. Click and drag down. Now I have a problem. These calculations are not correct. So if you read through the instruction sheet, one of the things that we talked about is using absolute cell references in formulas. What that makes happen is so that it continues to go back here to do the calculation. So in order to do that, in the formula bar, what you do is add a $ before the column letter and one afterwards. So I'm going to hit enter. That's going to stay the same. However, when I copy the formula down, the formula is now correct. So I'm going to actually center that column so that it looks a little bit nicer. We're going to skip down to the totals because they're kind of easy. So here we're just going to auto sum and enter. And you can click and drag this one across to the next column as well. However, I want to add in that this is a currency. So then we're going to begin doing some more advanced formulas. We're going to start with greatest. So if you go to the little arrow next to AutoSum, we're going to find max is one of the quick formulas, which is the same thing as greatest. So we're going to click on that. By default, it's just highlighting this little area here, but what we actually want to know is the maximum number of units. So I need to go back and re-highlight. Hit enter there. Now I need the same information in terms of dollars. So I'm going to just drag across here. Smallest then you can guess is minimum. I'm going to highlight in here again. Drag across. And then try and do average on your own. I'm going to actually not show you that one, so you have to figure that out. So we need to make sure that we change these into currency as well. And we're going to want to center all of these numbers here, including the averages. Now we're ready to start what is a much more complex function, which is an if function. So there's a couple different ways you can do this. You want to start by clicking on the cell where you want your answer to appear. We're going to go to the button next to AutoSum again. The if function is not one of the quick ones, so we're going to go to more functions. And Excel, you'll notice, has all different types of formulas built into it. Okay, for all different types of math or sciences that you may do. If you go to all, there's hundreds, if not thousands, of formulas in here. To take a shortcut, we're going to type in if up here. And you're going to double click on it to open the window. So these windows here are very helpful in that they walk you through the formula step by step. So down here, it's giving you an explanation of what you need to appear in this box. So the logical test checks whether a condition is met and returns one value if true and another if false. So we're in the logical test field. We need to know if the value or expression can be evaluated as true or false. And if you remember in your directions, it talked about there being 35 units sold or equal to. So what you have to figure out here is which box tells you how many units were sold. Hopefully you can figure out that it's this column here. So to line up our data here, we want to click on C8 because we want to use cell references. We're going to do a greater than or equal to 35. Now, we can quickly check and see that 15 is less than 35. My result here is telling me that's false because it is. So I know I have that line filled in correctly. So you want to make sure you fill in all three of the boxes so that there's no discrepancies. Now, if that's true, this is asking what do I want to have appear in that box. So for the purpose of this exercise, inside quotations, because I want this exactly to appear, I would type the word prize in all capitals, end with quotes. Okay. Now, if that's false, I don't want anything to appear there. So just like in your reflection pieces, you can't just leave the cell blank. So you have to insert 2 blank quotation marks. There's also help on this function if you have trouble when you're going through your company ones, because I'm going to look to make sure that you can do this on your own and work through some of the more complicated functions. So we're going to click OK. Now nothing's going to happen in that cell because this is less than 35. But when I take this and I drag the formula down, I have a few people that won prizes, which I'm going to center. And the other cells are blank, so I can quickly read my tally sheet to see who sold enough candy to get an extra prize. The last function we're going to do is a count if function. So we're going to go to more functions again. This time we're going to type in count if. Now there's several different counts. There's count A, we want count if. So we're going to click OK, so we get the function argument box again. The first box here is telling me the range is a range of cells from which you want to count. So since we're in the total row, I want to count all of these cells here. Criteria is what am I looking for in that box? So I have to type the word prize inside quotations. Now I can see my result is 5. Since this is a simple tally sheet, I can count on my own to make sure this is correct. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there you go. We're going to center that as well. And that is all there is to the tally sheet assignment. It's very important that you make sure to put in your footer with your name, FBLA tally sheet, class period, that you do a screenshot of both the tally sheet template, which is this here, and the formulas with the control tilde key. So here you need to make sure you get all of these formulas in here when you paste it in. So you did a great job getting through this. This is one of our more difficult assignments in the course and more difficult uses of Excel spreadsheets.